How do you catch your happy? How do you know that you're building your emotions up? How do you know that you are in a good place? Hello, I'm Kate Cocker. This is your Everyday Positivity. Who isn't interested in trying to become more happy? Finding happiness is one of the goals all of the time that we have, right? It's what charges us through everything. I was a guest on the Fertility podcast on their latest episode, and I was asked to be on to talk about how to be happy at a time when things can be tough. So the Fertility podcast is for people who have struggled and gone through a difficult journey to become parents. It can be that would be a natural process or all the way through to IVF or adoption, whatever it is. The Fertility podcast can really help people with that. And they invited me on to talk about how when you're going through these really tough times, and I call that process, when you are trying to build a family and you don't know why you can't, or it's taking you longer than you thought, and someone's promised you something, I call it the hope roller coaster. We experience it in all sorts of difficult periods of our lives. And, you're spurred on by the hope that it's going to happen, and then you regularly have this disappointment that it hasn't. How do you find you're happy in all of that? And so the whole podcast episode is about that, and we talk through some pillars of positivity and we talk through some techniques. But I wanted to bring kind of one of the key ones for you here today at this time of year when we're reflecting. As you know, I'm doing a few journal prompts over these few episodes, last couple and the next couple, because it's a good time of year to reflect. And I'm going to ask you this now, journal prompt for you today, or at least a thought for you today. Often we find ourselves saying to ourselves, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I'm told I'm pregnant. I make it to that holiday. I've made it through this difficult time. And the reality is that happiness is what gets you through stuff. Happiness does come from having a sense of achievement and having to really face some adversity. Equally, you need to find some happy on the journey. And I do this by going through the day. I'll log when I'm happy. So today your journal prompt is this. How are you happy right now? How are you capturing your happy right now? What makes you happy right now? Even if you don't put pen to paper, just have a think or talk about with your family or friends or someone who's with you. What makes you happy now? If you're interested in hearing the Fertility podcast, all you have to do is search the Fertility podcast on your podcast feed, or you can hit the link in the episode notes right now to go directly to the episode. It's an amazing podcast. It's actually the last episode of the podcast, but there is 10, 15 years worth of podcast episodes that if you have found yourself in a situation where right now you are struggling with fertility or you are struggling building a family, it's a really great resource. So go check it out. And I'm delighted to have been invited to be a guest. And it's all about how to be happy. So who doesn't want that, right? I'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Everyday Positivity for you. In the meantime, have a great day. And remember, you have 100% got this.